Let's look at a parapet detail here. We saw some parapet details in an earlier module when we were looking at insulation. Here we have a detail. If you look very, very, very carefully, we've got roof insulation in yellow, we've got wall insulation in yellow, and they are not connected. You see that? So I hope it's quite obvious, you know, that that's going to create a pretty bad psi value. We're going to have a lot of heat loss there, and the psi value is 0.427. Again, I'm never worried about the actual specifics of the numbers. I'm kind of thinking about the order of magnitude. So how would you solve this problem? If we look at the diagram now in the middle, it's pretty similar situation, but we've actually put a thermal block in the same point where the yellow insulation in the roof tries to connect with the yellow insulation in the wall. Okay, it's still structurally sound. It's still made of concrete. The parapet is going to be good, but we're using highly porous, low conductivity thermal block, and it basically completely changes the psi value. We've actually got 25 times less heat loss. Isn't that amazing? 25 times less. Right? And think about all the commercial buildings around the world where this kind of thing hasn't been thought about. It's kind of scary, isn't it? So that's one solution. Another solution would be to bring the insulation up over the parapet, across the top and down to meet the cavity wall insulation. And you know, that's possible too, but actually it's not as beneficial. If you look at the psi value here, it's six times better than the original, but 4 times worse than the thermal block, you know. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that whatever detail you look at, there's going to be different solutions, different products with different costs, different energy savings, different internal surface temperatures, and therefore risk of mold and condensation. And it's really going to be an iterative process. You're going to be looking at details and swapping things out and running the model again until you come up with something that you're really happy with, you know. And that's what Passive House is about. Passive House is about honing in on the small things, doing the small things really well, because the big things will look after themselves. But if you focus in on details like thermal bridging, air tightness, all that, window installation details, then honestly everything else will follow quite well. With regards to thermal bridging, parapet details are often forgot about. We tend to focus on other stuff, but not in Passive House. We've got to pay attention to every detail, every junction, every interface of the different planes. And it's also very important to think about the thermal conductivity of the materials that you're going to use at that junction and to model those very carefully. So having said all of that, let's visit a certified Passive House apartment building now, where we use a special low conductivity concrete block in the parapet to produce a highly optimized thermal bridge detail.